All right, welcome back. Now you see the title. We are on white supremacists' necks. And when I say we, I am talking about black men. Our feathers have been ruffled. Y'all have been begging for our attention for a while, and now you got it. These white supremacists have always been obsessed with us, and recently they just lost one of their top spokespersons. That spokesperson was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's job, just like the job and assignment for several of these white supremacists, is to always project black men primarily as the greatest threat to this country. No matter what is going on, black American men are always projected as public enemy number one. And now, black men, we are doing our homework and we are giving you that work. Now, in the process of just destroying these garbage talking points coming from these white supremacists, you cannot debate. For a group who always brags about how high your IQ is, your debating skills are garbage. Everything that y'all decide to talk about, everything you point out about black men, and you're primarily always talking about black men because we're the number one target, each and every argument is garbage. Where is this high IQ that you've always bragged about, white supremacists? So in the process, black men have influenced many people. And this white supremacist rulership, and make no mistake, this country is run by demonic, devil-worshipping white supremacists. In the process of us exposing this, there have been many white people who have been seeing the same things that we've seen, and they are attacking these white people. You know, they look at them as N-word lovers. We all know that. And I am telling you right now, they have waged war on black America and on the N-word lovers. They've waged war on all of us. Shout out to Charles Forte. Listen to this.
These people famous for what they have said about the unaliving of Charlie Kirk. Because it doesn't matter what political party you were on, no child and wife should have to grow up without a father and watch their father be unalived like that on the internet for the rest of their life. Starting off strong with this one here on TikTok that posted a video and has since been taken down, but this is still up on his story. This is him right here, Vic Melter. And he posted a video chanting, "We got Charlie in the neck." I'm not going to post it because it is very inappropriate and TikTok will probably take it down, so I will post it over on my FB. But now let's go to person number 2.
Now what you're looking at, this is a list of people who've been fired from their jobs for posting something about Charlie Kirk. And not all of these comments were disrespectful. Oh yes, fired.
This is Kristen Eve. She is an elementary school teacher, as you can see from the background. A pre-K teacher, to be exact. And she posted this right here.
Wait a minute. I want to make sure y'all can see this. Let me enhance the quality a little bit. Let me increase the size a little bit. Look at this.
Pause to read, but it says, "He was a garbage human. I won't mourn him for 1 second." Pause to read the rest of it. This is Ashley Creekbaum. She is a New Orleans firefighter. She
Wait a
said,
minute.
this is garbage humor, to be exact. And she posted this right here. I'll let you pause to read, but it says, he was a...
Look at the comment. He was a garbage human. I won't mourn him for 1 second. Then she said, I feel for his family. Having your partner and father of your children die isn't something I'd wish on anyone.
Garbage human. I won't mourn him for 1 second. Pause to read the rest of it.
But I suspect we are at a point where things are going to have to get ugly, messy, maybe even violent to change this dumpster fire of a country. And she got fired. Fired for posting this. We are at war, people. They keep talking about Charlie Kirk as a beacon of free speech. Yet none of us currently have free speech when it comes to Charlie Kirk.
This is Ashley Creekbaum. She is a New Orleans firefighter. She said, I think he should be forced to carry that in his body. Has a right to be there because it's a gift from God.
Got fired for that. And the word that she didn't verbalize was bullet. She got fired for this comment.
This is Samantha Margino, and she posted a video, and she is actually a school teacher as well. A special education teacher from this school right here. And here's the video she posted. Make sure you follow for part 2 because these are going to keep coming.
One thing about the...
She got fired for that. She got fired for that. Now, Charles Forte, I like your content, but brother, you need to back up. You need to back up, brother. Back up from the screen a little bit, bro. I don't need you to be so close that I can see the moisture on your lips. Go on, back up a little taste, bro. I don't know why black people be doing that. Y'all get that from white folk, man. Boy, white people be getting raw all up in your face when they talking to you. Just back up a little bit, bro. Now let's continue with it, because this is crazy. This is top-notch insanity, people. You have no free speech. Listen to this. Now, this is the exact video that this lady posted.
was a way better version.
Charlie Kirk was not your everyday 31-year-old. Charlie Kirk was a platformed Yahtzee worth $12 million. How did he get that $12 million, you ask? By platforming overt Yahtzee rhetoric. Play Yahtzee games, win Yahtzee prizes. When you build a platform off of supporting a carceral and militarized society, what the fuck do you expect?
Have you heard anything radical yet? Anything hateful yet? Anything unreasonable yet from this lady specifically?
When you build a platform having zero sympathy for the victims of the colonial projects, militarized terror, what the fuck do you expect? The globalized struggle caused by what Charlie Kirk supported is now taking place all over the planet. Whether that's in the form of climate crisis, mass disablement of C-19, or the global uprisings, like in the form of Nepal and Indonesia, and those of us who are choosing to speak out against the ongoing genocide of Sudanese, Congolese, and Palestinian folks. This is not a coincidence. This is a righteous discontent and response to systemic terrorism and normalized violence. And if you don't understand the difference between righteous response to systemic violence and violence itself, you need to shut the fuck up right now.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All the neo-Nazis are gonna love this one. I just got out of an impromptu meeting with the vice president of Western Governors University, scheduled on my calendar 10 minutes after I arrived back from my midday break. No one else was scheduled on the meeting, besides Casey Clark, the vice president of Western Governors University. But then the HR representative showed up first, and we both sat there, and knowing that she's worked at the university for about a month. And then he showed up, and I said, it would have been great if we met each other under different circumstances, Casey. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna fire you.
For that video that you just watched. Can you believe that? This is what is going on right now in real time. Do you know how desperate that is? How pathetic these racist white supremacists look right now? This desperation is the result of us being on their neck. Their mindset is, do not regurgitate anything that you've heard, anything. Do not share your thoughts if it is against Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk represented us. He was backed by millions of dollars, strategically put in place to spew this rhetoric. Really just to spew a bunch of racism.
Deserved it because he had bad rhetoric and he was so mean and he made me feel sad. Can you please do humanity a favor and just shut up already? Do you get tired of crying and whining over words? Words.
You know, for someone whining that words are just words, you seem awfully triggered by ours. And that's the funny thing about words. They matter. Yours defend a man who spent his entire career weaponizing rhetoric, and ours clearly got under your skin. If Charlie Kirk's words were just words, why did they have real-world consequences? He spent years attacking DEI, and now we've got companies like Target rolling back diversity programs because of pressure campaigns fueled by rhetoric exactly like his. It's almost like words become actions. This is how influence works. Jim Jones didn't lead 900 people to drink cyanide because he was quiet. I promise you, Hitler didn't rise to power on hugs. Hate crimes don't just happen. They are born from words that make hate feel justified. So no, his words were not harmless and yours aren't either, and the fact that ours got you this worked up proves the point you're too scared to face.
A few moments later.
Was that video somehow inappropriate, people? Was that video celebrating his passing?
Oh.
I got fired from my job today
But she still got fired.
because someone publicly doxed me.
Doxed you by sharing that video? That video was beyond harmless, people. You mean to tell me people are out here right now being fired over stuff like this? We are at war. Make no mistake about that. Now, Charlie Kirk, the reason why he was so beloved, why he was so appreciated, is primarily because he used to speak against Black Americans. Let's cut to the chase. Let's stop playing games. Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit, his audience was built because of the things that he used to say about Black Americans. Same with Nick Fuentes, same with Candace Owens, Officer Tatum, and all the rest of these lunatics. The primary thing that these people, their audience, the primary thing that they appreciate is when they spew rhetoric, lies, hatred, and propaganda against Black Americans, primarily Black men. Charlie Kirk, I need y'all to clearly understand this, was primarily dead set against Black men. He was pretty much giving cover to Black women. How many of y'all noticed that? Some people have wondered why so many Black women came to Charlie Kirk's defense. It is because Charlie Kirk blamed Black men for the deterioration of the Black community, not Black women. He painted black women as fellow angels, as allies. Didn't I tell y'all? What have I been saying for years? Even way back on my SBW channel, I said clearly, they are allies of white supremacy. They are the right hand of white supremacy. I said this way back then on one of my earliest SBW videos. And I am telling you, I have been hearing that phrase nonstop ever since I said that. And I don't even remember anybody else saying that before I said. Quiet as kept, I have started a lot of talking points in these circles on YouTube. A lot of them. A lot of my work has been studied extensively. And many talking points have been, I've shared a lot of them and a lot of people picked them up. Look at how Charlie Kirk used to always say that black men were running away from their kids and that we need to stop sleeping around, impregnating women and then leaving them. How many of y'all noticed that he was dedicated to that talking point and relaying that ideology exactly like that to his audiences? That the reason there are so many single black mothers in the black community is because black men simply impregnate them and run away. Do you know what Charlie Kirk was doing when he used to talk like that? How many of y'all understand what his agenda, what his mission was? His mission was to go against the great work of the late Kevin Samuels, R.I.P. This is why they used to hate Kevin Samuels. Because Kevin's work proved black men's innocence. The single black mother epidemic has always been projected by the racist white supremacists as the result of lazy, irresponsible black men. True or false? That was their initial agenda, and they did not like that Kevin Samuels used to interview black women and allow those black women to prove otherwise based on their own confessions. Black woman after black woman got on that show and admitted, I left my kid's father. I broke off the relationship. Aside from all those confessions, you had the actual documentation where they divorce more than any other group. So it has never been black men being deadbeats. He used to look at the single mothers in the black community and say, oh, this is black men's doing. They're such savages. Remember, that is what they were saying in the beginning with no proof, no evidence of nothing. They would project black women, oh, you sweet angels. When the truth is that those black women have been sleeping around and leaving those kids' fathers because that is what they had always been used to doing for hundreds of years, and they couldn't stop doing it. Plantation breeders laying up with one buck after another buck after another buck and not caring about their children. They do not care about their children. They hate being mothers. AC recently, I think, made a video about it, right? If I'm not mistaken, He recently made a whole video about that, how they hate being mothers. That dislike for being mothers, that dislike for being a wife, they did not like that. That was the cause and still is the cause of single black mothers. And Charlie Kirk's agenda was to come through and lie after we had already exposed the true cause of these single parent homes. And again, he had no business focusing on black Americans anyway. You're going around the country, university to university, talking about our relationships, black people's manners, who we sleep around with. Really? And they never talk about their own dysfunctions. They never talk about their own problems. Ever. Now I want y'all to listen to this. This is the mother deflection right here. Keep what I just said close in mind.
404 Media, which is an independent news organization. According to 404 Media, which is an independent news organization, they found out that the Department of Justice deleted the study, which was conducted recently, and is currently reviewing materials about this study and other similar studies on its website. But the study essentially said that right-wing violence is outpacing all other types of violence. White supremacy violence is outpacing all other types of violence. And it was a pretty important study to show that domestic terrorism and homegrown terrorism really is contributing to a lot of the violence in the United States of America. And now this Department of Justice, unsurprisingly, is actually trying to whitewash these studies from the public's purview. As always, spread the word. I'll do a full breakdown of this and more on my Substack, linked in bio, so subscribe for free and follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. I will have much more to come soon. According to 404 Media, which is an independent news organization.
Sorry about that. You don't need 404 Media. Look at this. There it is right there. DOJ deletes study alleging rise in far-right terrorism. That's another code word for white supremacists. Look at this. The Guardian reported on it 21 hours ago. The Hill, look at that. It was their own study where they found that currently the most violent group in this country is white men. White men. They've always been fixated with projecting black men as the most violent people in this country. And when they conduct a study that proved otherwise, they had to delete it. How about that? Once again, trying to minimize their own dysfunction, their own degeneracy. They only want to project black men as degenerates. I mean, isn't this an obvious scapegoat? You got a group of people who are degenerate as all get up, going around the country trying to lecture people on how degenerate black men are. Are you kidding? Don't talk to me about how Charlie was a beacon of free speech and that he only spoke the truth. It wasn't hatred, it wasn't racism. Not only did he spew a bunch of racism, the fact that he exclusively focused on petty things about black America, you wanted to travel the world for that? That's something that you write on a YouTube post. You wanted to travel the country for that? just to talk about, oh, the immorality of black men. Oh, they're such bad people. Oh, they shoot and fight each other. Went around the country talking about things that did not affect you or your community at all. Oh, those blacks. Oh, they're such a problem to each other. Pathetic. One of the most popular talking points that they used to go on and on about and still do is how whites are unalived at a far higher rate than blacks are unalived by whites. In their mind, they believe that black men are out here unaliving white people at record numbers, which couldn't be further from the truth. Even if you just co-sign with the idea that blacks are so violent, we're so criminal, and I've shared this before, I want to revisit it. Let's get something straight for all you slow white supremacists, because let's face it, all of you white supremacists, and I know some of you follow the channel, you all are a bunch of slow individuals. You're slow. That's why you go on and on about how high your IQ is. It's projection. You want to project black men who've really been providing a whole lot of clarity and light in this country. We've really been the light bearers. We've been upholding intelligence. And y'all have always been slow. You're dim-witted. And you've been trying to hide it. Well, those days are over. Y'all are being exposed to the max right now. Look at this stat on your screen right now. And I want this to soak in. All of you white supremacists, let this soak in. I want this to be a fixed part of your psyche. Do you see that? Who are the majority of murderers in this country? Blacks or whites? You tell me. Who's the majority of murderers in this country? All these lectures about Chicago. Oh, Chicago, Chicago. Yet, there are more white murderers in this country. Oh, it's because we are so much more plentiful. That is a lie. It's a lie, and you know it. And black Americans, I need y'all to understand something. Y'all need to work this into y'all's portfolio. We are not 13% of this country. Y'all need to get off that. Because their claim that we are so violent rests on you believing that we are 13% of the population. We're not. We are close to, if not half of this country. I don't care what nobody say. I'm willing to have the debate, willing to have the discussion with anybody on that. I've already shown the proof. 13% of this population could not populate the major cities around this country the way that they do. And there's several large cities where blacks are the majority. 13% of the population could not accomplish that. And for everybody who goes on about what about the small white towns, all of those small white towns represent roughly 15% of the American population. So there's nothing else to talk about. The majority of people live in large cities. Not only that, we make up the majority in many of the small towns. Again, Look it up yourself. I've made a whole video. I've made more than one video on it. 13% of the population could not do that. They have to get you to believe that we're 13% of the population in order for them to even make a somewhat strong argument. 2023, there were almost 9,000 white murderers. 8,842 white murderers. Yet, 6,405 black murderers. Oh, Chicago. All these lectures they've been giving on Chicago. Just desperate. Desperate to be victims and desperate to project blacks as inherently violent. And really, the goal here is to project blacks as genetically dysfunctional. Now contrast that with this. Number of murder victims. Y'all remember how they always used to talk about how whites are murdered? Oh, we're always being unalived by black people. Black men unalive whites more than anybody else. Blah, blah, blah. Whites are the major victims. Really? Number of murder victims in the United States by race. Most of them are black. So what are you talking about? You do the math. Most of the murderers are white, and most of the murder victims are black. So it's impossible for blacks to be out here unaliving more whites than vice versa. The facts have always been here. That's why it frustrates me when I see people out here who can't refute these weak arguments. We, black people, we are being unalived more than the majority of the country. How is this even possible? Think about that. With stats like these, there's no reason why they should be able to push the propaganda that they push. So why wasn't Charlie Kirk going around the country giving lectures about how violent white people are? Make me understand that. Why not go around the country giving lectures on this? Why wasn't he giving lectures on how 51% of sex abuse offenders were white men? 55% of sexual abuse offenders were white men. What percent were black? 13.9%. Let's say 14%. 55% compared to 14%. Look at this one. 67% of individuals who produced child corn were white. 67% white. 67% white. You want to go around the country and give lectures? Give lectures on that. Don't talk to me about black men. Look at this. 55.6% of cases involving travel for prohibited sexual contact were white. This is white men hopping in their vehicles, going somewhere to meet an 8-year-old. How sick? How sick? And you degenerates got the nerve to travel around the country trying to lecture people on how degenerate black men are? Slap yourself before I do. You white supremacists, y'all been begging for this showdown for a long time. Now you got it. And it's not looking good for you. Those white supremacists who was leaving a bunch of comments in the comment section not long ago, notice how they just disappeared. Have you noticed how they disappeared? It's only going to get worse for you. You've been avoiding accountability for decades. And now you're being forced to be accountable for your own actions, your own behavior, when you should have simply left us alone. But you're so fixated on us. It's really ridiculous. One of them left a comment saying that, hey, Charlie was taken out by a fellow white man. So what does that have to do with black people? Charlie was traveling around the world talking about who? That was another slow comment from one of these white supremacists. I'm telling you, man, these people are slow. White supremacists are slow. They're just not bright people. You got to be slow to co-sign with the talking points that they co-sign with. If you're going to travel the world to give lectures to people, talk about this rather than black men sleeping with multiple women, which is a bunch of lies. The majority of black women, they get impregnated by a relatively small percentage of black men. That's the real fact. You got more than enough degeneracy that permeates through your own population. You got plenty to talk about on your end. So if you're fixated on talking about us, that's not only a deflection, there's an agenda. That's an act of war. That's what that is. It's the same type of propaganda that you saw in the days of Hitler. It all starts with pushing propaganda. And this propaganda that y'all currently trying to push is weak. Weak. And you're so sloppy with it. The DOJ discovers this information that would really no attention should be paid to black America. If the facts show that as I speak, the most violent people in this country are these white supremacists, then there's no reason to ever bring us up ever again. Shut your mouth. That's why they deleted it. It dawned on them like, hey, this is going to make blacks look too human. It's going to make blacks look too normal. And it's going to make us look like we're more violent than blacks. Oh, we can't publish that. They are only comfortable when they are being projected as angels. I mean, this guy, not only Charlie Kirk, none of them, they don't even include lectures to their own kind. Look at Ant Coon. Notice how the coons like Anton do the exact same things that these white supremacists do. That's why I have no respect for these dudes, these bootlicking Sambos. You take your coon face, go bury it in the dirt somewhere. So I don't want to hear nothing else about I don't want to hear nothing about Chicago. I don't want to hear nothing else about how violent black Americans are? You want to talk about violent people? The only thing I want to hear you talking about is white men. I don't want to hear nothing about how white people are victims of violent crime when there are more black victims of violent crime. I don't want to hear it. More and more people are getting fed up with this played out propaganda that y'all continue to push. It is 2025. It is over for that nonsense. I don't want to hear nothing else about how blacks are so much more likely to unalive you. Remember, I just told you about a truck driver that I talked to the other day who tried to say that blacks are more likely to unalive you. Not according to the statistics. And it has nothing to do with this false claim that we are 13% of the population. Black America, please snap out of that. Snap out of that. And I'm really talking about black men. Study Charlie Kirk. The rhetoric that he used to push is the rhetoric that was given to him to push. Understand that. All the rest of these white supremacist males say the same thing. They always pander to black women and project them as innocent angels like themselves. Oh, you Negro males, you keep knocking these poor innocent women up and leaving them. Do not lose sight of how closely aligned black women are with white supremacists. And there's a part of me that appreciates this modern era because it proves everything that I said on my SBW channel to be true. I was saying this back then, that they are allied with white supremacists, with white supremacy. They are the right hand of white supremacy. I was catching all kinds of flack for that. But the chickens have come home to roost. It's true. This is a significant difference right here. Who is the face of red rum in this country? Brad. Not Tyrone, Brad. Accept it. Go around the country and lecture people on it. Go ahead. Go talk to the masses about how white people are the number one perpetrators of red rum. Go ahead. They can't do that, and we all know it. Because this is all about race. It's all a race war with these people. Their goal is to lie, deceive, project themselves as angels, and project us as the villains. They constantly want war. These are not a people of peace. And it starts to become easy to understand why so many of their empires ended up being destroyed and never lasted for a long period of time. These are war-obsessed degenerates. They cannot, when there's an era of peace, no war, that makes them uncomfortable. It makes them uncomfortable. That's why this country has been engaged in warfare for as long as we've been over here. Right? There's a Hispanic Brad in the chat room who said, enjoy your Chicago utopia. I don't know what that, elaborate. What is that supposed to mean, Brad? You know how pathetic it is that you all only have one city to focus on? Have you reflected on how pathetic that is? If your argument is that black Americans are so violent and criminal, why is it that you only have one city to talk about? Huh? Now that same Hispanic, white Hispanic, said crazy cope right there. Go back to Wakanda. And as we all know, that's a cop-out. Whenever they start to troll and make ad hominem attacks, they are admitting that they've been defeated and had nothing else to contribute to the debate, which is exactly what I expected. Exactly what I expected. No, Brad. Whites are responsible for about half of all homicides. You don't have any facts to substantiate the idea that blacks are more violent than whites. What about that don't you understand? I know you're slow. We all know that you're slow. But that's a problem that you need to fix, slow Brad or Hispanic wannabe Brad. See how desperate they are for blacks to be the most violent? They are so desperate to project themselves as, oh, innocent victims, and we're angels, and we are the righteous people. No. Okay. And as expected, they have nothing to contribute. They have no rebuttal. If Charlie was still here, he would not have had any rebuttal. That's why he focused on challenging kids, which it was so pathetic and embarrassing. I would not want my representative, the representative of my ideologies, going around the country challenging college students. That right there proved that his rhetoric was off base. People are out here trying to challenge his arguments. And they are being targeted for challenging his arguments. That proves that he used to spew flawed arguments. And we're going to keep our foots on your necks. Y'all wanted this showdown. You the one who wanted to test our IQ, going around bragging about how much more intelligent you are than us. Okay? Now you getting that work and you trying to run out the ring. No. Security, grab Brad, bring him back in here so you can continue to get this work. Y'all are light work, easy work. All this bragging about how intelligent you are, we can't tell. These goofy, retarded arguments. And I have not even gotten into all the degeneracy that is more prevalent in y'all's population. Much of the things I really can't even say here on YouTube. You don't see black Americans going around giving lectures on how degenerate y'all are, on the degenerate things that permeate through y'all's community. We don't do that. The fact that y'all do that proves how sick you are. How much of a weenie you are. Cowardly you are. You're not a man. You're spineless. Can't even face up to your own degeneracy. Salute the black men. We've always been willing to have the tough discussions about our own issues. That's what real men do. Cowards can't do this. Y'all have always been a bunch of spineless, weak people. And now it's being exposed for the world to see. And I'm going to provide as much ammunition as I possibly can. And I'll leave it there.